Hello everyone, it's Joel Davis with Home Care Access, and I recently put together a long video, as in like 2 hours. So obviously I talked about a lot of different topics of conversation. One of them in particular was regarding non-medical home care. Because I'm a numbers guy and a visual guy, I want to see things in front of me. I shared a simple spreadsheet that my partners Marty and Ginny Rube put together. They put this together really in response to easily one of the top 3 most common questions we receive. How much money can I make with home care? So I'm going to share that segment here with you. I figured, hey, as many inquiries as we got off that video that I put together a short few days ago, I figured, hey, let's extract that, put this video together, and share it with all of you. So definitely stay tuned. I'll post that here in a second. I also want to share that got a new member on our team we're very excited about, Scott Woodward. We knew that as busy as we've been with Home Care Access, we got to get some more people. But it can't just be anybody, we got to find the right people. So we're really excited about Scott. Some of you watching this, you may have already talked with Scott. If not, go online, go to homecareaccess.com, share your information, we'll get it, we'll put you in contact with Scott. I think he's going to do a great job helping us with the onboarding process, engaging with a lot of our prospects, really connecting us and getting you started. Everything is about you, putting you in the right position. So again, go to homecareaccess.com, share your information. I'll make sure that we're in touch with you, and also stay tuned to watch the, again, I'm going to extract this little snippet from my previous video, but I think you're going to find great value, specifically talking about the earning potential with a non-medical home care agency. So stay tuned. When you do, I'll see you at the top. This one we have with Home Care Access. We got great people that I work with, Marty and Ginny. We got some new people joining our team. Got a lot of great people we're working with around the country here. And here's what you have to understand about take for example non-emergency medical transportation. One of the key things that I want to know is, okay, what's your trip volume? Well, we do 100 trips. We do 100 trips a day. Okay, are they round trip? Are they one way? A combination of? What are those percentages? What's that breakdown look like? Okay, what's the percentage of ambulatory versus wheelchair? If you are in a state where NEMT could do stretcher, okay, what's that percentage look like? So my point is that when it comes to medical transportation overall, one of the first fundamental variables I'm gonna look for is what's your trip volume. When it comes to home care, it's not necessarily how many clients you got, how many caregivers you got. It's really how many hours. How many hours are you doing per week, per month? Okay, because then I can start to evaluate where we're at revenue-wise, and then take other variables into consideration to determine some of your level of profitability. But when it comes to home care, you're really looking at, okay, how many hours are you serving? So now this chart we started to share with, again, as we've started working with more and more people, one of the most common questions we get is, what type of money can you make? I love this chart. My partners Marty and Ginny put this together because it just underscores, and again, I'm visual, I love numbers, and when it comes to home care, there's a lot of great things happening right now. A lot of great things. Rates of reimbursement are going up dramatically almost everywhere. Almost everywhere. Not only the private pay, in most places, a lot of waiver work, the rates of reimbursement are dramatically increasing. Some places are still lagging behind, I would argue, but it's only a matter of time. They're being forced. They got it continue to increase. VA, I've talked about this in previous videos. The VA, when it comes to home care, is nothing like it used to be. Back in the day when we worked exclusively with private pay home care agencies, we would tell them, don't even waste your time with VA. Not only was it a hard process to get licensed and registered, just to get paid was taking forever. So long story short, quick crash course. Back in, I think it was 18 or 19, when when the businessman in office deregulated. I use the term deregulated, but really he made it much more through deregulation. He made it more expansive. I'll give you a classic example. Where I am here in upstate New York, technically because I'm a vet, I have VA benefits. So technically I can go to a VA, but if I did, I'd have to go to Syracuse because they're an hour away. So in deregulating the VA system years ago, basically the businessman in office said, why are we doing that? Why are we sending these vets an hour away, 2 hours, 3 hours, depending on how rural and remote they are? Why are we sending them? It's harder for them to get to care, and it's costing us more money to get them to get quality care. How about we let them stay local, go to different hospitals, clinics, get the care they need, and we just reimburse them? Novel idea, right? Well, that's essentially what happened. That's kind of analogous to what happened with the VA. And if you look at the VA and you look at waiver work, really what's happened is with increasing demand, and because everybody, every industry, I don't care what business you're in, what industry you're in, everybody is experiencing labor-related issues. So the VA and a lot of these waivers, they know that, listen, we got people on waiting lists. We got to get them care now. We don't want to wait for crisis. Back in the day with home care, everything was about crisis. They would never pay for non-medical home care services. It was either medical care, which is much more expensive, or we got to wait till they hit crisis mode and they go into a traditional rehab or skilled nursing facility. And now we're paying buku bucks. With every state budget being pretty much broke, finally, like the VA, they started to realize, hey, let's try to mitigate this. Let's start to do more preventative care. Let's try to keep people at home because it's more cost effective. So let's keep them at home and keep them there for as long as possible. Therefore, the VA started to deregulate and increase the rates of reimbursement dramatically. Same thing with a lot of these waivers. Again, some certain areas, certain states, some of the waivers I think are still too far behind, but they will catch up eventually. Other states, they're just throwing the money at it. And what's that doing with private pay as well? That's further buoying and lifting up and elevating the private pay rates of return. So back in the day where it was almost unheard of to hear of waiver programs that are in the ballpark of $25 hourly rate. In some states right now, it's going to be above that. VA in some states is twice that. It's mind-boggling. It's crazy. So let me take a couple more seconds here to talk about the home care. Again, you want to look at monthly hours. How many hours are you serving per week, per month? Now, we take a look and look at how many caregivers do we have. When you look at this chart, by all means, take a screenshot of this so you can study it. I absolutely love this type of thing because I love numbers. So you choose any scenario, and then you take this and you run any scenario of your liking. So realistically, a short few years ago, your hourly rates for private pay were $25. Again, we're seeing them now in many places consistently more and more in the high 20s and in the 30s because, again, we're seeing that the waiver rates are starting to increase, which is further increasing and elevating the rates for private pay. And like I say, the VA. There's some VA rates right now that are so good, even private pay can't touch it. But study this chart and look at it. Here's the thing that I always tell people. Realistically, my ideal scenario for both NEMT and home care, I really want a 25% margin. Sometimes now with home care, because home care is so heavily labor-based, it can be more of a challenge to get to that 25, so maybe you're closer to 20, which is still great. It's still phenomenal. But especially when you have both an NEMT and home care, and you're able to leverage your resources, you're able to consolidate billing procedures, office staff, office location, you're able to exceed industry standards and industry metrics for margins and ROI, things of that nature. So this is why, again, take a screenshot of this, study it, especially if you're already in NEMT and you're looking to diversify, grow another source of revenue. Look, the layup decision is obviously home care. I mean, especially if you're taking people out of hospitals, if you're doing discharges out of hospitals, discharges out of
skilled care and rehab facilities, and you're taking people to home or some of the more independent facilities. I mean, it's a natural progression. You know everything about these people. And it's not like you need to investigate or put forth a great effort to find out anything about them, because they're given to you on a silver platter. And the other thing I would also tell you is, depending on your location, maybe, look, man, I'm kind of maxed out here with NEMT. It's like we've hit the cap. Based on our location, based upon population, based upon our number of competitors, we're kind of at a ceiling in terms of how big we're going to grow. So if nothing changes with any of our other, unless we buy out a competitor, nothing else is going to change. So maybe it's time for you. The next progression is home care. Maybe labor. Labor is an issue. I'm having a hard time finding enough drivers. Well, can you also find caregivers? Because maybe that's the next synergistic evolution of your business, is to bring the two businesses together. So again, study this. I love numbers. Run your own scenarios. It's right in front of you. It's simple math. This is why I love numbers, and I'm a visual person too. I want to see things in front of me. So continue to study this, and definitely consider the opportunities with home care, especially if you're already in and operate in non-emergency medical transportation business.